first of all, you put in the Bangkok time. Was that like, were you afraid that I wasn't going to turn up? Like, I don't think there's many in the group from Bangkok.
No, that was purely for you. Purely for
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do a lot of
What
that. That's
what time is
my
it there?
daily activity.
Yeah, it's 4:30.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, welcome everyone to our first knowledge transfer series, and we have Dale Holmes here. So I'm really excited because I haven't spoken to Dale before, but I've listened to all your videos and I love everything you share. So it's going to be a great episode. And yeah, so we've got Rachel here as well, and yeah, all the lovely people that have joined to come and hear what Dale has to say. So pretty excited about that. So for those people who don't know you, Dale, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit and just
Yeah,
talk about who you are?
yeah, cool. Yeah, so yeah, without having a title, I'm a middle-aged man having a midlife crisis, currently in Thailand and floating around. And I guess I started making videos in 2020, and it was um, purely I had like I guess like a built up rage within inside me that I had to get out. So it was a personal thing at the start, but then also just like seeing the state of the world was really forced to have to like I didn't know what action to take at that time, and a lot of it felt like I couldn't take a lot of action, and that my voice I felt was the most important thing. So I thought if I could at least put my voice out there that I've done it and I've at least honored myself and honored the truth. And then from that point on, I kind of have gone into this weird world that's been unbelievable where I've met, um, been able to teach, but also been able to learn from so many people. And just, yeah, I was just thinking about the other day, like the community that's kind of formed and all the relationships and how my life's changed in the last 4 years just from taking that first action. So I don't know who I am or what with some sort of title, but yeah, I'm just a guy.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's yeah, that's awesome. And I think a lot of people have gone through that journey recently. I know myself, I have. So I think a lot of people are going through that more recently, and it's such a great thing to see yourself, Rachel, get out there and speak your truth and give people confidence to do the same as well. So thank you, both of you, for that. Um, what's been on your mind lately? What have you been interested in lately?
Well, do you know what? After since Rachel, I go in these ebb and flow kind of states where I dive into something and then pull out and then dive in and pull out. But there's a constant that's always there, and I need reminding of it at times. So it was really perfect timing that you guys have asked me to come on here. And Madeline sent me a message. I think she's in here. She sent me a message the other day, and I think she said something about Rachel's like bang on with what she's doing, and it was sometimes when you just need to hear a certain thing, and what it is well, I guess if we're going to talk about ley lines, the thing that I keep coming back to is the importance of the earth and our symbiotic relationship with it, and we keep talking about human awakening and stuff, but there's a lot of people that forget to mention that actually requires the earth itself, and it's a symbiotic awakening with the earth. So we need to remember that. So that's what's been coming up lately. It's more the core message that I always keep going back to, and I think the ley lines are an expression of that, and um, our needing to get back in touch with the land in whatever way possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add, Rachel?
I was watching Dale's talk to camera that he uploaded yesterday, and I love what you were talking about, Dale, that, all these religions that are like the main religions, like, well, Catholicism doesn't really talk about the earth's connection and how important it is. That there's been such a pushback against anything that's considered pagan because Catholicism came in to stop the pagans from ritually sacrificing, and yet you've got communion where you're eating and drinking of Christ, which is just bizarre. But these religions that are not based in culture and in tradition and, really ancient practices that the original peoples of the earth that are under so much, attack have. It's just completely disregards the earth. And I thought that was, I don't know why I never thought about it that way before. It's absolutely brilliant, Dale.
Yeah, well, again, I've got to thank you because like we had a chat on our Sky to Earth recently, and people just brought up like what their favorite talk and stuff like, and yours continually comes up.
Oh,
The first presentation you did, and it really was absolutely it was such a game changer for me because we're always especially like people like yourself and that you're tapped into the unseen world, but then to actually be able to physically see the unseen world and actually like merging the two together. It was the first time where I've had certain experiences, but that one, just being able to physically see it and then having the confidence after that, for me, that was huge. Um, because it brings the non-physical into the physical. You're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense now. And again, like everything's symbiotic because all those lays, if we're a compression of the earth, is like they're all running through us too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And if it wasn't for you and Maddie, and hello, Maddie, I know you're in here. If it wasn't for you guys letting me do that, I wouldn't have had the confidence to then talk about it publicly. But I've got to take my hat off to you again, Dale, because I had the theory and I could see them, but I was too scared to talk about it publicly at that point. But you just went out because that's who you are. You just took it and you did what it needed to be done, and you did it in the most beautiful way. So for those who aren't aware, I kept telling Dale for quite some time, it was probably a year or so at least, or maybe longer, that when he was doing his walk and talks in Bendigo, I was seeing ley lines behind him. And I was learning too because I saw the quartz seam and it was like, oh wow, he's putting that out and I can actually see the ley line there. And that's actually because I was still learning at that point. Um, and then eventually I guess you could see them, which was just awesome. So exciting. It's exciting for me when people get to see them for the first time because it's usually just such an aha moment.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, actually, I was gonna go back. I'll share some photos in a minute, and like you would have seen a lot of them, but I do especially want to share like the ones that Matt took that I shared with you just recently. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, sorry, I was gonna screenshot like one of the very first messages you ever sent me. Um, and like I think we were like three messages in, and you shared me some pictures, and I was just like, yeah, cool, dude. Like, and you're telling me like what parallel you were on. I'm like, like I knew about lays, but I didn't really know. Do you know what I mean? Like I knew what they were. I remember the first time I kind of got into it was, do you remember Sylvia Brown? Do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
remember that song?
yeah.
She used to be on that show. Anyway, yeah, people might know it. So I had a few of her books years ago, and I remember she was talking about there was like a case study in they call them fairy paths in Ireland.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
Ferry paths, yeah. So they went to build this big airport in this ferry path, and the locals told them. And it's in the Western world, the the like the lays and stuff like that, they're probably the most prominent in mythology in Ireland that's still kept alive. So like people were like saying, "Do not build this here. You can't build them on a ferry path," and they did, and all the electricals went out, and they eventually had to change the operation. That was the first thing I ever remember kind of learning about it, and it
Yeah,
makes a lot of
wow.
sense everything that you've taught about the electromagnetism and all that kind of stuff that happens. So
Yeah, yeah. Get
these
some weird
stupid people,
anomalies.
yeah,
Yeah, because people just want to put things where they want to put things. But of course, you've got the song lines and the information or the knowledge around ley lines for original Australians is really profound and significant. And of course, Trevor Wees come on and talked to Ley Love Down about, how there's some country that's sitting, that's for sitting, and there's some country that's just for passing through. And that,
yeah,
you don't sit in a ley line unless you're going to be doing work in there with,
yeah,
consciously. Yeah.
yeah. And look, the other thing too I've been thinking about is because it's like what you do, and you've got this beautiful song and stuff that you share into it, but then so there's some sort of collective happening with the lays. And I'll actually mention that Clint Walker we had on Sky to Earth, he spoke about there was an area, he said they hadn't done ceremony there for decades. I think I mentioned in that video, and I don't want to butcher what he said, but he said like the energy basically being dormant because that the the land hadn't been used. And it's the same within the body. If you're not using like a certain chakra point or whatever, if there's stuff that gets stagnant in the body, there's going to be buildup until that energy needs to be released. So there's like this communal aspect, but then I think there's like an individual aspect with people connecting with the lays too. So, and it's, I guess like your relationship with the creator is also a personal one too, like at your own interaction. But then he even said that like a certain tribe they've got like their song and their dance and stuff that's connected to the energy of the lay or the song line in that area. But that's like he described it as a chapter of a song. So he said we hold like one chapter, and then the next tribe over or whatever that intersects with the lay, that will be another chapter of the song. So we think no one's actually got the full song. The song's has kind of been severed, but he said they're all chapters. And it's weird because I've been looking into blockchain and cryptos and stuff lately. And I was looking at like visuals. I was just Google imaging like visuals of blockchains, and it's exactly what they are. They're like severed parts. They're chapters of the whole web of the blockchain. Wow. And I don't know what people like thinking, but like I've spoken about this a lot, how there's always this simulation or mimicry or hypocrisy of what is real. And so you can see that in the digital world with creating a blockchain, that it's kind of simulating these chapters of the song that's present within the earth. And you can see that everywhere. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting like digital mimic example of what's actually happening. So then if you think like if everything's kind of harmonized, there's one kind of universal story or global story to the planet, and it probably hasn't sung for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's so important. Sorry, Billie, I don't want to take over. This is your interview, darling. I keep talking.
No, well, I'm just enjoying listening to Dale because a lot of it's new for me as well, and yeah, it's quite interesting. I just do the social media, so I'm not an expert in lays, but it's been interesting, like just learning about it, and yeah. So, I suppose the one thing I like to kick off going on with lays as well. When you go out in a lay, do you do anything? Do you meditate? Do you sing or anything like that? Just for people that are new to it, and I suppose a learning about it and what to do, or yeah.
What like if I'm being honest, no, I've never sang into the lays ever. I'll probably have to do it. And it would definitely be a personal thing because no one wants to hear me sing, and I'd find that like a touch embarrassing. But yeah, I just observe actually. I'm just there and just observe, and like I guess try and like read any signs that it's coming off, and like just look in I'm more interested in like where it's going and why it's there. So I have had ones where I've gone into them and then felt like a bit hazy and disorientated afterwards, particularly the one I think I've told you, Rach, about the one in Brunswick Heads. And in that particular one, because I went out to that area intentionally because I'd heard about certain negative things that have been going on in that lay, and that's apparently like an important meeting spot. That the tribes would actually travel cross country into that region. And I felt a bit disorientated by that. So I don't know. I think like if you see them and you're obviously guided into that area, and again, it's as much about what you get from the lay as what we can put back into it. It's like again, that's like symbiotic. So I don't really do anything. I guess I just say I just observe. Maybe I should start singing. Rachel, what do you think?
Yeah, you can sing. Do you sing? Go for it.
I can do dancing in the dark, Bruce Springsteen or I'm on Fire. But no, I should do your song actually. You know what? I'll make a point of doing that.
And Maddie,
you can you go. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, darling. Maddie just popped up in the chat too that they're conscious. They are conscious, so it's you can communicate with them. Yeah. You can go in and talk to the lays as well. So you don't have to dance and sing or play music. You can actually just talk to the lays because you're talking to the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I might add this bit too, because when this kind of first opened up for me, and more about like the connection to the earth stuff. It was like 2020, and I was having dreams of this. I can still see the face, like this Aboriginal woman, like a really kind of chubby face, like really loving to like anyway. And then I did like a regression therapy, and there was like a couple of things that came up, and one of them was like ley lines that I need to go to a certain area, which was Melville Caves, and apparently that's got a bit of a dark history. When I spoke to one of the elders in Bendigo, and then he said go to Mount Franklin, so I went to both of those spots, and apparently that was a burial. There was a big slaughter that happened there, that was pretty much covered up from history, and they planted all these like European pine trees on top of Mount Franklin, so they're not natives there. And apparently, Mount Franklin was an old volcano. And the elder in that region, there's Mount Tarrangower and Mount Franklin. They were two. I can't remember the story, but he told us a story about the two mountains, and it was basically like a war between the two mountains. And he describes, because it's a volcanic region, that's why you got all the quartz and gold and stuff in that area. So that kind of happened. And so I went out to Melville Caves, and I touched the tree there, and so there's a birthing tree there as well. We found it. Anyway, I touched this other tree, and I saw the woman's face came to me like vividly, almost like in a movie, like a flash. And I saw that. The only other time I saw that woman again was I went to Devil's Marbles in the Northern Territory, and I can't even remember the story of Devil's Marbles. But anyway, I went there and I touched the rock, and I saw that face again. And I sat there and watched the sunset, and the image that I got like meditating was, it sounds like silly, but it was like the Aboriginal flag. I couldn't get that out of my mind, and I was like, oh, this is where they get the picture from. So it was just like perfectly imprinted. I don't know if it was the way that the sun was setting, so I don't know what that was, but it started with that woman, and also in the regression. I don't know if people find this interesting, like, because it's all, I don't know, but like in my regression, it was my first life on Earth was to come here and like energize the rocks and make sure the grid was set in place. Like whether that's true or not, I don't know, but like that kind of started it. Anyway, I don't. Was there a question? I've got a bit of a rant there, but yeah. So I don't know if Devil's Marbles is like connected to like the West of Bendigo area. I don't know.
Yeah, good question. I'm not sure about the story behind the name of that either. And obviously, it's, I was just writing about this in the course chat today. They will name certain areas that are really significant and actually have quite beautiful energy. Really scary names like Mount Warning. Mount Warning is a beautiful place. Apparently, it's stunning.
Oh,
The Devil's Marbles, obviously, they don't want people there, so they're going to give you some creepy name because it's a spellcasting thing to dissuade you from going out there and perhaps doing ceremony or connecting with the earth in those areas. So I was,
well, just south. Yeah. Just south. I can't remember the town, but it's like just south of Devil's Marbles it has the most prominent UFO activity on Earth, like more than what's that other place in America that everyone goes for
51?
sightseeing? What's that?
Area 51?
No, well, near there. I can't remember the name of the town. Anyway, yeah, it's in New Mexico somewhere. But yeah, this spot is just south of Devil's Marbles. They said there's the most recorded UFO activity.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm looking up.
Sorry, I can't remember the name, but there's like a little roadhouse, and it's the same as like Area 51. They go like finding aliens and stuff, and they've turned it into like a tourism thing.
I know the one you mean, but I can't think of the name either. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Anyway.
So did you have some visuals to share with us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How do I share?
Now, have I made you? You are a host. He's host, isn't he?
Oh, sorry. I've got it. I send request. But
Yeah.
do you know what? Like, how many Zooms have I done before? And like, I still go, how do you share? Hey?
It's working. You're doing well.
It's working?
Yeah.
Oh, you know that one. So I've flogged a couple of your pictures. But do you know what? I'll start. I just want to put this one in because you talk about pareidolia.
Yeah.
Right, because when I'd done a couple of chats with Cindy Roberts, Cindy Roberts?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
So she was telling me this story here, and she said basically the like Uluru was it was like the unity of the man and the woman, right? This like all creation come from there. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard like tribes from the area tell that story, but that's what she told me. But like that one's very clear, isn't it? Like this is a man's face. And then she said the other side, that's where the water runs more. So when it rains, it runs like through the woman's hair.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to find the picture, but I couldn't. I do have it somewhere, but yeah, sorry about that. But I thought I'll show the one, and you actually, I mean, you put it. I think you did, yeah. You put it for the title of this talk. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't even realize when you put it up. I'm like, yep, that's a spot because this. I mean, this was my daily walk for like a decade, and you know when you go on a walk and then you kind of change trajectory, and then that just becomes your path. So, and this was off the beaten track a bit. And I don't know, I just always went there. But I mean, everyone here can spot ley lines, right? They're on, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much everyone, I'd say.
You don't have to do the whole Rachel thing.
A lot of
But like this one's very
names
clear.
in here.
So, I mean, this was the spot that I was doing videos for years, and Rachel's going, "Oh man, there's like you're in ley lines." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, I can see them now. Like, look at that one. That
Yeah,
one's very, yeah."
That's
And
super obvious. Yeah.
yeah.
the point I want to mention too is so Bendigo, the Quartz Reef runs kind of southwest to northeast. So if you had like a map of Australia, kind of runs up that way. And if even the Ballarat, most of the Quartz Reefs is like a slight northeasterly. And I've done videos on this before, and you can actually right where this one is here, the quartz runs like you can see the line of the quartz just runs perfectly through the ley.
And
So
it looks
yeah,
like
it's
there's
just
a path going through there as well, which again, it's the path of least resistance.
yeah,
It's that the trees and plants don't like to grow within the ley lines.
yeah. So yeah, that was I didn't even notice that till like, how bad's that? Like you put the promo up, and I'm like, oh, hang on, that's my picture. Um, that one's probably not as good there. So these are the other ones that you pointed out. Anything in the red. So that's the same. That's and this obviously like big quartz area, big gold area, and a lot of this you can even see like the old little mine shafts and stuff like that. And it's pretty much all around Bendigo's like that. It's probably one of the most heavily mined places in Australia. So yeah, I don't know if people can see that one. It's a bit blurry because I've screenshotted it, Rachel, but these were your pickups. Yeah, that one's very clear, and that's
Isn't
exactly
it?
where I. Yeah, so actually, when I go here, because I shift and I start walking this way, but I always cut through this spot. I don't go up to here. So I was walking directly through that for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, there's a lot of people in this area that, people like stack quartz and stuff in the bush. Yeah, I think there might even be a group, but there's a lot of them that stack it around this area. So I don't know if if they know there's a ley there or not. And there's a lot of wallabies in this area as well too. I see a lot of kangaroos, but you get a lot of swamp wallabies in Bendigo. The little dark. They're kind of like little kangaroos, but they're almost kind of dark brown black, and they don't bounce like that. They kind of do this shuffly bounce. But I've never can't remember seeing any in this area. So you said like a lot of the animals like to use the path.
Yeah, yeah. So very often I'll go out and there'll be because ley lines often run in pairs like in this particular example. And
Yeah.
one ley will be for the people to walk through, but you'll see the kangaroos use the second one.
Okay.
It's really cool. But other people have told me that echidnas use them. I don't know about lizards and snakes, but I certainly see for a while I
Oh,
wasn't seeing any birds in there, but they do use them. There's a spot that I drive through where there's so much bird kill, unfortunately, because they cross on a low level, and it took me ages to work out, well, they're following a ley line. So it's a bit like when a dolphin or a porpoise swims at the head of the prow of a boat. They get pushed along. I think it's easier. It's less resistance for them to fly through. This is an assumption I'm making because they do follow them.
yeah. So, I mean, actually, remind me, I've got to tell you a story about the snake because it goes into Matt's story now that you said that about snakes going through. Yeah. But I mean, like, if you do this one really quick, I'm sure people can spot them, but like, that is a great example. Don't you reckon?
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's just brilliant.
That
That was one of the
quick,
first ones you shared. It's just absolutely mind blowing.
like, I would never, and I don't know like other people, but for me, like sometimes I'll see it with the naked eye just, and my confirmation is my phone. So
Yes.
I don't know what you make of that because like I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can see it there with the way that the lights are working. And then I put the phone there and I'm like, oh, that's absolutely a lane, right?
Yeah. It's really interesting how that happens. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, look at that. That's crazy.
Where exactly in Bendigo is that?
So this is just, it's in Strathdale. So it's an area between Strathdale and a suburb called Juniterton, which is kind of on the outskirts in the
Oh,
southeast
yep, I know that.
town. Do you know Bendigo?
Well, I lived there for a few months, a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Juniterton's quite nice. I actually, yeah, this is like classic Bendigo bush. It's dry. It's dry and rocky. It's very hard to like do gardening in Bendigo. You've got to get soil and stuff. It's very hard to solve. But this one, I actually saw this on the local community page in Pottsville. And I went, holy shit, right? Because I'm like, oh no, that's the beach I go to every day. So this is Cabarita Beach. And those that don't know Cabarita, it's got a side beach over on the left, and then it's got one out here. So this is the one on the right. And I mean, like that's clear as day. It's such a beautiful pic. So I
Stunning.
went down there.
You-
Yeah,
You're
mine
taking
aren't as
people on a lay tour, aren't you, with your Bendigo catch up that you're doing?
well, not necessarily a lay tour. We're just doing an occult Bendigo
Oh,
tour.
brilliant. Oh, cool, cool.
But we could.
Well, if you're
Anyway,
going to
yeah.
go to
So
all those places, you'll see ley lines around all those significant buildings for sure.
yeah. Well, that's yeah. I mean, there is yeah. There's a line that runs right up View Street. All the significant buildings are mostly in that one street that leads up to the fountain. So I wonder if the fountain itself um, is a portal.
And there was a star, wasn't there, on the ground where the fountain is? My friend Jules.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
pointing it out to
So
some
anyway,
just it. All these people, these town planners that just make everything so bloody obvious.
so do you reckon? Like, I wonder if they were able to see them, right?
Well, if they use a sighting rod, a Freemason uses a sighting rod to sight a ley line to have a church orient in it, I assume they can see them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's a great picture. Unfortunately, I didn't take that one. I flogged that online, but I think that's the best one. But I did take my own ones. This was from further back on the same path. Oh, hang on, that's a completely different one. Sorry, there's going to be a bit jump. Now, I think this one, oh, sorry, that's Pottsville as well. But that is that one.
Wow.
It's the same one as well. So if I go back there, that's like right up near the beach, but that's a bit further back.
And
So if
it's
you
the
do
same
that,
size because the trajectory is always the same size, which is a beautiful confirmation.
yeah. Oh, I really like this flicking back and forth. This is, doesn't that help?
It does
Yeah.
immensely. Yeah.
And I mean, look, I don't have the eye for it that you do. I almost have to like send them to you sometimes and go like, is this one? But I think I've got a bit more confident. But anyway, I'll get on to Matt. And I spoke to Matt the other day and I got permission just to share a bit of his story because I think it gives a bit more significance to this area. So I went out to this place the other day. So I didn't take this one. This was taken by Matt. And obviously it was a different time of year. You can see it's much more greener because it's dry season now in Thailand. So everything's, yeah, obviously dry and green. But yeah, look at this. He's got a beautiful rainbow. And this is in Coron Beach. And you can see, like, he showed me this the other day and he'd been telling me there's a lay there. And I went, oh, holy shit. Absolutely. And so the story behind this in the snake was, I mean, if people want to listen, that me and Madeline did an interview with Matt probably about a year ago. I've done a couple actually. There's one on my YouTube, and he shares his story, and it's honestly Matt's become like a really good mentor to me while I'm here, and he's got so much wisdom, and yeah, he's taught me a lot actually, just like a lot of real simple stuff, and he's got a very good outlook on life. But he told me so this was around the COVID time, and he didn't take the jab, and he basically lost his business, and he had to relocate up to the north of Thailand with his wife and his son. And he took this just before. And he told me, we went for this walk the other day, and he said a snake fell out. And that's when he saw it, because a snake fell like off the edge here, because it's a walkway just down the bottom, and a snake fell off right near his leg. And then he looked over and saw this, right? And that was right at the point that he had to make the decision to, to move up north. And long story short, he ended up coming all the way back down because he's basically for the love of his son and wanting to come back, but he had no idea how he was going to do financially and all this kind of stuff. And he had a lot of synchronicities around animals. Like he had this bull that went crazy and charged him in the village, and he eventually he took the action to come back down south with basically no idea how he was going to do it. And in a reasonably short amount of time, he someone helped him financially to get his own business back that he originally had. And the funny thing about this was he showed me, because we went on this walk that I'll show you in a minute, there's actually a ley line that runs directly that he walks on every day, and it runs straight up into his business. So he literally done this full round trip, and due to his own morality of doing what was right for himself and his family, he's ended up all the way back where he started, in a better position than he was, like spiritually, mentally, financially, everything. So it's one of my favorite stories. But so he took me there the other day, and thanks, Matt, for that. If you ever see this, that one's a bit blurry. So Rachel, you need to tell me how I can do these circles. I don't even know. I do certain stupid squiggly circles on Instagram that they don't do it justice, but I don't know if people can see this. It's not as good as this picture, I must say.
Yeah.
But you get the point. But if you look at the bottom, so obviously, and Matt actually messaged me the other day, and he goes, it's good that you took that picture because you couldn't see that bigger ley feeding in with the green, not as much as this. Because you've got the dry there, that really kind of helps see that outline.
And again, it's a perspective thing, because you know that this perspective of the circle closest to you is because you're closer to that part of the lay. And
yeah, so it's the same lay, isn't it?
Yeah. And same size
yeah.
as the one through the trees. So it's just beautiful. Getting being able to see more than one of the circles is a really beneficial when you're looking for lays. So you can absolutely 100% be sure that that's what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, if anyone goes to Thailand, this is in Karen Beach. Yeah, go check it out if you ever come over here. That's the wider shot of the two, so you can kind of have a look.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can zoom in, probably not. Yeah, I hope people can see that. But that gives a different perspective. But I'll show you this was the path so this was the original path that feeds all the way down into his business. I don't know if people can see that one. It's probably, but I took a video. If people want to see, I put some on my Instagram, and I think I put it on Telegram as well. So if people can see this one, you can see in the bending of the tree. Might have a video. Anyway, so if you follow this path all the way up here, you go down into this bottom bit. It's got a little man-made lake at the bottom. And so this is from there. And I can zoom in. Can you see? Oh, there it is. Now I need to go get some pictures up the Big Buddha. I did a run up there the other day, but I want to go check out there. But right here is this building, and it's called a Garuda Eagle. And apparently Matt told me that only, they're very purposely put them on certain buildings here. You can't just put this. It's like the Thai coat of arms emblem, the Garuda Eagle, but then that's the Big Buddha right up there, which is it's like the highest point of the island, and it's probably, one of the most significant. So I don't know if that would be a portal, but if you can see again where the eagle is, that's Matt's business, like directly there. So this path that he'd been going on this walk leads directly. He'd been following the path that led him literally straight back home. That's this one. You can't really see, it's a bit blurry, but anyway, it's down here, and that's the Big Buddha. So I'll try and, that's a close up, and that I took this from Matt's business. So that's literally underneath where his business is, and that's the emblem. And it's supposed to be it's a half man, half eagle. And it's supposed to symbolize a representative of the divine in this realm. I probably need to look that up a little bit more, but yeah, obviously, many countries have the symbol of the eagle for yeah. I just want to mention this one. Actually, you will like this, Rachel. So this guy, I did this whole video on the shrine, and they did this really weird festival. Actually, well, go. I want to share this first, actually. So through Nikki actually helped me find this and do the research on this, but this is taken from the shrine in Melbourne. I probably don't have time to go in here, but we've done like a five videos on the shrine. I've got to give Nikki credit because it's mostly most of her research. She's like some of the stuff she's uncovered is unbelievable, and you too, Rachel, with like the stuff around the MCG and being able to find these different portals in that area. But the shrine is on the 144th parallel. So 144 is a very significant number. And this is built right on the 144. And obviously was like brought in by John Monash, stuff like that, which is, this high degree Mason. But this figure here, which again is on the 144th parallel, is a guy called William Barrett. And so he was a significant Aboriginal man in this area. And he was the one that was fighting against like the construction of this area and keeping the traditions and stuff alive. And they've honoured him, but also mocked him by putting his face there for the shrine to look over William Barrett. But looking at the shrine too, we found that the shrine itself was built on Aboriginal burial ground. And if you look at a lot of the symbology of the shrine, it's very much built as like a birthing kind of portal with a lot of the symbolism. And obviously, yeah, it's got like the ray of light that enters in. It's almost built like a womb. It originally had a dome ceiling, which was like a feminine, and then they changed the ceiling. So they've almost like solidified some sort of structure was there. There was a water out the front, and then they closed up the water. And I've always thought Melbourne's very significant. I think the shrine is almost the center point of that, but it's directly on the 144th parallel. Anyway, I'll try blitz through these. I won't. But I found so this guy, Will Point, he did this show called They had a Now or Never Light show, and it had a number of different shows. They were all to do with like transhumanism, technology, artificial intelligence, all themed around that in the art space. And a lot's coming out about the art space now. Even like Hunter Biden's house burnt down, and he had all these paintings in there, and apparently they're insured. So that, there's a lot of money laundering that goes on through the art space and other sinister stuff. But this guy's called Laszlo Bordeaux. Now, I was looking at a lot of his stuff on Instagram, and he's blocked me. He's now blocked me. This guy. We put him up because I was pointing out a lot of his things, and yeah, I can't view his stuff now. He's blocked me. This was one of the light shows he did at the shrine, and the shrine is it's said to be a place on. They even call the inside the Holy of Holies, just like Solomon's Temple. So, and even the name shrine, a shrine is built to hold a holy relic, and this is said to be a sacred place for the soldiers. But they're doing like these crazy satanic light shows. But the point I wanted to get to is this was my old city. I used to live in Prague, and this is called Namaste Miru, which in Czech means peace square. And I'm thinking, shit, this is probably a portal next. So I used to go, this is where I used to catch the tram every day at Namaste Miru. And I shit you not, when I go to look at this Laszlo Bordeaux on Instagram, he goes all around the world and he does these light shows on certain significant buildings. And he's done one on Namaste Miru, which I used to live like just over here. So yeah, there's kind of, anyway, I just found that like a weird connection, and the fact that he's blocked me. So Laszlo.
You're doing well. You're doing your job well.
Anyway, another one. So I went to go back. I remembered I used to walk down this path. Well, actually, it was right near the school that I used to work at. And I used to go out for a smoke before work, or at lunch break, I'd go have a cigarette. And it was just like my little quiet place. And it was beautiful because this is what it used to look like in the winter. It was just covered in snow. It was like bloody Narnia or something. And it never got old to me, like the novelty of like this kind of winter wonderland. But I'm like, oh shit, I took a few videos. I'll have to go back and have a look. And Rachel's pointed this one out for me. I don't know if people can see that. Can people see that one?
Well, I can certainly see it. Hopefully other people can as well.
Yeah. And this was yeah, obviously it was a bit of a walk path. It normally opens up a lot more because when it snows, all the trees kind of bend down because of the heaviness of the snow. I do have a video of it, but you picked up some pareidolia in here too, Rachel. You've
Yeah.
gone. I can never find these first go, and I don't know what it is. When they point it out to me, I can see it. I've got a friend that's really good at it. Anytime I take a picture, she's like, "Oh, can you see that?" But yeah, can people see the face in there?
Yeah. The eye was really obvious. And it's really interesting with any kind of green man apparition because these so-called, nebula stimulus that we see, that we see a relationship with some sort of humanoid apparition. The eye, the left eye on our right is so clear. It is so clear. And a lot of these green man apparitions, the only one eye will show, which is also really interesting. So, and they'll often just show it exactly perfect half face. So it's like a hidden sort of like we can see you, but we don't really want you to see us sort of thing. But that one's, showing itself pretty clearly.
Yeah, so I thought that's a cool one. And do you know what? I might be going to London later in the year. So if I go into London, I'm gonna go back to Prague and I'm gonna go to this spot.
Wow.
I actually found, so speaking of Prague, I'll skip a few. I went up to with Damien. I don't know if Damien's in here, but he lives up near Macedon. And this was after you and me, we did a whole video on basically your information on Hanging Rock and Macedon, which was like really, really cool. And so I knew the area. I'm like, you can see this one here, clear, right?
Damien's in here. Thank you, Damien. Bloody awesome.
Oh, he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Damien's got the better pictures, but yeah, this one we took the day I went up there with him. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, people should go watch your video you did on Macedon. It was really cool. But yeah, I put this on this is a screenshot from my Instagram, and I said, can you see the animal? So like, can anyone see just over here? Now it's not in
Yeah.
I said rabbit, but
Yeah.
sorry, excuse my language. I wrote fucking wild. Sorry, that's for my Instagram. I don't know. Kangaroo, rabbit, kangaroo.
I got rabbit, but I was
Looks like
thinking
a
about
rabbit
Alice
to
in
me. Yeah.
Wonderland. Yeah, and the, going down the rabbit hole sort of thing. So that's what it comes to me as a rabbit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that one's pretty clear if you can look at the lay, and then like you speak about them being on the mounds and stuff like that, and this is like right at the top of the hill, and it's built up.
Mm.
I think I've got a few. This is the one Damien took. Oh, maybe that's offline, online. It might be Damien's one.
I think it's an online one. I remember doing
Yeah,
that.
so you can see this one. See, I would find that hard to spot, but the moment you put that circle over it, can people see that now? Like that really helps. That's clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for those who are
Do you
myopic,
ever see them when you're out there?
Sorry.
Do you ever see them when you're out there or just when in the photos?
Oh, yeah. So like, that's what I said before. Like, I mean, the real clear ones I'm able to see, and then like, yeah, like I said before, the confirmation is like I put the camera up. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's something about like the light's different on the
Yeah,
camera.
okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Rach?
I was just going to say for those who are myopic and wear glasses, if you take your glasses off, you're going to see them more easily. Walter Kilner, the father of Kirlian photography, said that when you use relaxed vision, so you're not focused on a point, but your eyes are just kind of out of focus, you can see a wider range of electromagnetic frequencies. So you can get a wider range of the spectrum. And again, these are magnetic frequencies. And we have cryptochromes to pick up on this, just like insects and birds use their cryptochromes to navigate through ley lines. We can see them also. It's a scientific fact that we have them.
Well, I've got heterochromia, so I should be able to see this, shouldn't I?
Absolutely.
Not
Well,
close.
the course members that I have that have central heterochromia or full heterochromia seem to see them very easily. And I've completely forgotten about the spectacular photograph. This is such a good one. It's so clear.
Well, do you know what? I met this girl the other day, Dutch girl, and she had the craziest eyes I've ever seen. I had to go up to her. She had like the best case of central heterochromia I've ever seen. And I went up to her and I'm like, oh my God. I said, wow, not trying to like hit on her or anything. I'm like, gee, I said, your eyes are amazing. And then I started telling her about this. So I made her Google it. She'd never heard of it, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, this one you picked up, Rachel. And again, this is in Macedon. So
Yeah.
this was like, we're looking down straight from that cross up there.
And this would likely
Well,
be one of Damien's photographs as well, because I haven't been there myself.
yeah, I should have used Damien's. He's got the better ones. Yeah. And sorry, this is like just off there as well. It's a path just off there. But then I don't know. I just put this in because I found it's interesting too, just because, like Skull and Bones and the 322. But like you've got Hanging Rock, which Rachel showed all this stuff about, and then Mount Macedon. This is like the intersecting line. And that's where this path is, right?
Wow.
Just behind that sign. But it's got the 322. So
Uncanny. Yeah, for those who don't know, it's the Skull and Bones number. And my father's got that number. Whereas obviously he's dead now, but on his Facebook page, he's got the 322.
oh, that's right. Yeah. 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 So and that's obviously that's like equinox time too, like March 22nd, important date.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same one. Oh, so this is the other one. I pinched this off you too, Rach. So that one's really good. You can actually see the bend here in the trees, but nothing's growing, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the video. I don't know if that'll be able to play. I'll try play it.
Oh yeah.
Can people see that?
Yeah. It's working.
I had no snowshoes when I lived over there, Rachel. It was horrible. I fell over in town a few times. I wouldn't buy snowshoes. We had to wear like business like shoes to work, and then
So you're
I didn't
working?
want to take. Yeah, this was like right near where I worked. Yeah. I think that's it. Oh no, actually, so there's a video.
Oh,
There's a
cool.
video of the one at Cabarita.
Oh, that is
So I'm not.
fantastic. And again, certain times of the day you're going to see them more clearly. So dusk and dawn, they're really obvious. But just the way the sun's coming in there, it's definitely accentuating it.
So I put this one in fast forward mode. I think I might have music to this, so I put it on my TikTok. So sorry if you don't like.
You're the best thing.
Oh, that is awesome. That is so clear.
Sorry, that's my music taste. Well, how about can I sing that one? Oh, wait, here's another one. I'll say, yeah, this is Pottsville.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. I think that's all I've got share wise.
Yeah, cool. I was just going through like all the questions and people put some great questions. There's one about are there any markers where ley lines cross creeks or rivers? Do you guys know anything about that?
I'll leave that to you, Rachel.
Well, you might see more animal movement there. Like that might be somewhere that the animals cross through the water. But to be honest, I haven't had many experiences of seeing them in those areas. But again, you'll be looking for the so-called nebulous stimuli. The pareidolik images in those areas would be just as regular as anywhere else. There is a phenomenon where you can get a false reading for a ley line because of the way that water will reflect surfaces. So if you've got just an arc of a tree above some water, you're going to get what looks like a perfect circle, and you're going to think that might be a ley line. So that's just something for people to look out for. It may well be a ley line, but for the most part, that is just the way that reflections create. A half circle can be reflected in the water.
There's also like people asking, and I suppose people are maybe new to ley lines. What are they? Is it a pathway to parallel realities or different places on Earth? Can you use ley lines to travel instead of trains or planes?
Well, they're the original pathways. So if you look at the Roman roads in the UK, they're known to follow ley lines. And so again, if you've got a really like the UK is a great example because the countryside in that area, it's so wooded that a squirrel wouldn't have to touch ground for miles. So it's so heavily encrusted with plants and trees. But the natural way that plants and trees avoid growing within the ley lines would create this path of least resistance. So that would be be your walkway. And so that's where most roads and paths that end up paved start from. They're a natural sort of walkway. So what they are is a magnetic frequency, which, and I'm still in on I haven't quite decided which way it goes, but either the plants and trees don't like the frequency and they avoid it for that reason, or they are doing it out of respect for the earth. So ley lines are the meridians of the earth. They're a magnetic frequency. They run in channels across the earth's surface. They can go vertically and they can also be up high in trees. And that's where you have a significant crossing of ley lines, you'll get a portal space, which is like a big sphere of space and energy. And if that's way above the ground, you'll see that ancient peoples have actually burrowed in or carried in before they had a wheel. I think they had a wheel a lot longer before they say that they had a wheel, but they would carry in, soil to build the area up so they could get to the portal space. And that's how significant these spaces were. And so they're called tumps and mounds. And the shrine's probably an example of that. They were building it up for a reason. Also, the shrine has that stepped pyramid look. And the stepped pyramid's about sacrifice. You see that in the Aztec pyramids. You see it in Planned Parenthood in some of the buildings that they have for that. It's all about child sacrifice. And, these amazingly powerful places where horrible things happen are usually placed in the crossing point of ley lines, these portal spaces. Where the portal spaces are, the ley lines themselves are fifth dimensional frequency, but where the portal spaces are, where the ley lines cross, you'll get all the other dimensional doors are accessible. So it is. So someone asked if, could you travel them instead of using planes and trains? Well, yeah, but you'd have to be at walking speed. But one interesting thing about the portals is you can go back in time and you can go forward in time. So people who've time traveled, I believe, would have been using the ley lines and the portals to do so. It's a great question.
Yeah, I think Trevor Wee talks about that too. I think he's mentioned about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what I was thinking about today too? Because I was actually listening to Tom Barnett, who's got his new course up, and I was thinking about authenticity because he was talking about simulation, how it's built on hypocrisy and mimicking, right? And if you look at how the hijacking of the lays, and it's all done by repetitive behavior by the Satanists to constantly, because the earth is always it's trying to go back into balance. So they need constant ritual to bring it back. So what they're doing is against law. And then so the opposite of that mimicry is authenticity. So what we should be putting into it is authenticity. And then it made me think of what you said, Rachel, where you said that you make an effort to leave the area better than you found it, if you see rubbish and stuff like that. And I'm like, shit, I haven't really done that. And I think that's real morality is what you do when no one's looking, because you're doing it out of purity. And I know that you'd be doing that authentically too, because it's your care for the area and your care for the earth. And the more that you understand the lays and stuff, you're going to want to treat the area that way too. And that to go back to what Clint Walker told us, he said, I bring it up all the time, but it's one of the most significant things I've ever heard. And he told us country gets lonely, and that even what I told you about before, he had this ceremony that they hadn't done for decades. So the area had been dormant, and the earth loves us interacting with it. And it's okay, well, then you fully understand the whole AI agenda and smart cities. It's yes, it's about physical human control, but I believe the main purpose of it is that they don't want to hear us, because the earth's changing, we're changing, right? And they want to sever that tie between us, our relationship with the planet, so we're not picking up this new energy that's coming through, right? Or we're not listening to the planet. And the best way to do that is remove people. So it's I think for me, it's always been studying the dark tells me what to do. So I'll do the opposite of that, right? So they don't want us on the land. What do? Get on the land, right?
Oh, one of the best pieces of advice we ever gave was to not do the same thing all the time. Don't get stuck in a routine. Break your routine. I thought that was brilliant. Sorry, Billie.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, Madeline left the good comment. The most abundant fruit trees are the ones that are picked. And that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Madeline. Should we get Madeline here?
She's been doing a lot of commenting, so it's been good.
Has she?
Trying to keep up with questions, yeah, as well. So
Oh, good on you, Maddie. I know Maddie's coming
lots
on
of
for a knowledge
questions.
transfer at some point, so we're going to be blessed, absolutely blessed. She's laughing.
Yeah, but and I think like if you looked, I guess like it just like the mean way that the Earth's kept compared to like the state of human consciousness, like they're going to be at the same level, right? And so it's a good guise on the way that nature's reacting to what we're going through. And I think that's like if there's going to be upheavals and stuff on the planet, it's obviously for me showing a transition in the human beings going through. And I think there is like an evolution of even the physical human being and what it's turning into. So that tells me that the Earth's changing too. And I know, Rachel, you mentioned that who was it that said that like there's new lines that have appeared that weren't there.
So that
So
was
that
really
tells.
dumb.
Sorry, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that if that's happening, that says there's an evolution happening in the human being too. 'Cause you have to have that understanding that like we're a fractal. The Earth is us. We are the Earth. Like we're a part of it. And that's the whole green agenda. It's like that humans are evil. That we're causing all the problems of the planet. It's one of the most sinister things ever. So
It drives
sorry, I
me
don't know what.
crazy. It's that lack of abundance. They want us to feel that everything is scarce, so that also we'll have small lives and we won't grow and we won't become the amazing souls that we came here to be. Because every existence is about trying to better oneself on a soul frequency level. So yeah,
Yeah,
the Earth is coming up in frequency, and so are so many humans at the same time. It really is profound. But yeah, there were three new dragon lines that came online, dragon lines being the most profoundly large and powerful of the ley lines. There were only six pairs up until I think it was 2012, and then another one appeared in I think it was 2018, no, 2017, 2018, and 2019. So three new dragon lines came online. So that's
wow.
from six pairs to another three is astonishing. And of course, if they come in pairs, I'm assuming there'll be another. My friend Alex, who helps me with my course, she mentioned that. So I just want to give her credit for it. It's bloody brilliant. Of course it would come in, there'd be four. So that 2017, 2020, 2018, 2019 influx of dragon lines happened just before all this madness occurred. There's a reason for that. And we've just come into this permanent harmony time in December of last year. So for those who cannot sleep, who are incredibly agitated because the frequency is so different and who's seeing a lot of people acting out around them, it's an acclimatization to the new frequency, and it's not easy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I was just gonna say, I had something, Rachel. I had something. Anyway, I do want to say because like listen to like Mark Passio's natural law series and stuff too, because he talks about like rights and ownership. Um, and there's a lot of what like the agendas kind of be is to like for people to give up their land, make so hard for farmers that they leave. And like he talks about like you don't own something unless you maintain it as well too. So like and he uses a good example like with the Second Amendment. Um, he's like has the right to keep and bear arms. And he talks about like the protocol of actually having the responsibility. So if you've got like a land that you need to be caring and catering and doing the right thing by the land. And if you abandon that land, it's not yours. You've lost I don't know if ownership's the right word, but like yeah, you've lost the right to that land. And then you can see like they're trying to flood everyone into the cities, and now they're cutting off national parks, saying that we can't go there, and they're using the guise of the traditional owners to say that we can't access. Like there's a new one down um, near near the Grampians they've cut off now too for no rock climbing. People can't go up in that area. Obviously Mount Warning. And you got to wonder, like, why are they doing that? There's obviously, and these are significant areas on the land, but there's something they don't want us hearing there too. But then there's also that part of if we're not maintaining and not going in there, then we've given up right to access that area as well. So you can see the duping on that level.
Wow, it's really interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, the other thing I wanted to mention because you said 2019, and so I just think like that perfectly matches like the correlation and spike in technology too. So anytime
Oh,
human consciousness is starting to evolve, and then so if the human consciousness is evolving, that tells me the Earth is evolving and changing. And anytime that's happening, you're seeing a mirroring within technology as well too. So technology is exploding at the same time. So there's going to be these two worlds operating the whole time of like technology and the natural world, both like an explosion in technology and the earth starting to sing at the same time too. And there's going to be it's like a choice between the two and how you operate with both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I'll shut up now.
No, yeah, that's why you're here to
Yeah.
share your wisdom.
I mean, I don't know jack
It-
about ley lines. So I've got to credit to you, Rachel. It's like I think it's unbelievable, like the reach that you've gained at the moment. Because yeah, like everywhere I go, people are like pointing this out now. So I think it's really significant. You've been the barometer for that. So absolute credit to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, credit also has to go to all the volunteers and Ben and everybody who's put Ley Love Down together too, because that's
Yeah,
a whole group of people. It's pretty amazing, and people like Trevor and yourself who come in and share your knowledge, because you have a great deal of knowledge on it, Dale. You're just not ego driven, darling.
now, subtly on the inside.
Suddenly, but Sky to Earth has been
so
incredible
is there,
as well. Sorry, Billy, go for it.
you go. No, you go.
I was just saying, Sky to Earth, I learned so much from coming in and listening to the other speakers as well. So this is the knowledge transfer time. This is the time for educating and healing. We've gone through the nightmare, and it's been decades or hundreds of years, or some people say thousands of years, but we're coming into this incredible healing time now. So this is where all the, you just mentioned Tom's got a course. Fantastic. That is brilliant. It's absolute music to my ears. That man is brilliant. So he's going to
Yeah,
educate a whole bunch of people about stuff that really they need to know about. I'm assuming the medical system and various other things that he's got incredible knowledge on. And this is the thing, the academics just learn by rote. They don't have anything new to share. It's the people who are actually out on the ground that have these sorts of conversations. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but the authenticity doesn't come from going to university and being hammered into you what you need to know. And everybody else knows exactly the same thing. That's not learning. And no offense to anybody who's been to university. It's just, I've got a degree. I don't use it.
yeah. Well, so, you know what, Rachel? I so agree. And for me, it's been so humbling. Some of the like I thought I knew it bit like years like the last 4 years has been crazy. And what it's been is like just allowing myself to like with me and Madeline in Sky to F, we're really the students in there. We're just facilitating it. And the people we bring in are just like exceptional in their field. And I just started like Tom's course today. And I'm like, fuck, Tom is
Oh,
so good.
really? Wow.
So good. And he breaks things right down to real simple and real core stuff of natural law. But then like again, like doing your stuff, then like you introducing me to Anarchy Lucas and then doing her like that was unbelievable, like the stuff that she but it's all like congruing together
Yeah.
and it's the sharing. So like this is like Ley Love Down's a big part of that as well. But it's like everyone's got this little piece and it's all like forming a bigger picture and it's just magical. It's unreal.
Yeah, it is. It's magic. And that's the time we're in. We're in a magic time. All the
Yeah.
magic that was taken away with things like psychology and academia and, everything's got to be, you've got to be able to physically see it and touch it all the time. Otherwise it doesn't exist. It has to be replicated. That's going away. It's never been the true reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, we're blessed to be here at this time. I'm happy I was born 85, like right on that cusp of like, we still had the dial phones as a kid. We still had those ones. Like I kind of like got a glimpse of like your era just.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, like the kids coming through now too, some of them are phenomenal.
Oh, they
And
are.
it's like it's innate too. And that's why I don't even feel the technology stuff with the kid. Like, yes, it's very it can be very sinister too, but it's like it's the interconnectedness of the internet and kids' access to that is again, it's like it's helped with that explosion of information. So if it's like harnessed right, but yeah, some of these kids,
Well, a lot of them are really switched on to about how dodgy it is and how addictive it is, but they use it in
yeah,
a way that's useful to them. So, I know young kids that educate me regularly on things that, I've got no idea about because it doesn't interest me to follow the people that they follow, but they're still getting an education. but they don't get inspired and excited about the things they learn at school. And yeah, this new generation that's coming in, that's not the beta generation, because that's the beaten down, that's the, alphas and then beta, it's not about that at all. This new generation is absolutely exceptional. And it's interesting what comes up so often in readings now with these children, like people not being able to have children for a while, and then suddenly pregnancies are going through the roof again. And they wanted,
Really?
ones wanted to come in after the hump, after the fifth dimensional shift and the harmonization of the ley lines. So that harmonization of the ley lines that happened in December of 2024, that will be a line in the sand. People will talk about this for decades and decades, possibly hundreds of years, because this is a huge shift, major, major shift. I think in past times, perhaps that was a pole shift because it's so profound, but this time we're not going through that. We don't have to. So this is just an enlightenment period, 100%.
Yeah, I was listening to David Wilcock recently. He was describing it in similar terms too. And he said, like, obviously there've been huge cataclysms and stuff in the past, but he said this was different. And like, I don't know if that's true or not. I can't vouch for that, but yeah, he said the same thing.
It's like Max Egan, don't have a stake in the outcome. Don't get too worried about it, because we're all having a human experience. We're all eternal souls having a human experience, unless we're really dark. They're not going somewhere great, but I don't see cataclysms coming at all. And it's good to hear that he thinks the same. And look, some of the psychics and the astrologers and the others that the intuitives that I watch or listen to, none of them are seeing a massive cataclysm either. So we're so lucky we've managed to get over this hump and come into this, learning, healing phase. And it's also, massive, massive education phase. I think we're going to see some of these big structures, big pharma is going down, and we might actually see some of these, massive corporations going bankrupt at some point this year. And I'm just hanging out for that. So hanging out for that.
You see, they did. Sorry, they did the USAID. So the top one was, they got like 250 billion. The second one was Pfizer. So US tax money for US foreign aid goes to Pfizer. Like
some of
it's
the
unbelievable.
breakdown was absolutely horrific, and they talk about what's gone to Ukraine, but there was another country where, I won't mention, that got a lot more than that. It's just like, oh, serious? And we're talking billions and billions of dollars.
It's like, if people look at, like, even just forget the politics of it now, just look at it as like there's an energy change now that is showing truth. Like, this is, I don't know how people are getting like angry about it and going, oh, there's other motives. Yeah, like there might be, but like, shit, like this, it's kind of like a moment to clap now. They're very quickly uncovering that your taxes are put into a mass money laundering operation for a global criminal syndicate, and they're taking all your money and putting it into this. And this isn't even the black budget stuff. This is stuff on the books. This is on the books, and most of it's black budget. So I don't think there's any coming back from it. I was actually talking to someone in America the other day, and she's pissed, this lady. So they pay a lot of tax over there. And if you're a small business, you don't pay your tax, you're done. They'll take everything. They'll put you in jail. But what's your tax money going for? Like human trafficking and vaccinations and all the rest of it?
Yeah, poison. You're paying for your own poison.
Yeah. But there's no coming back from this revelation. It's out there. It's mainstream news now.
That's the thing.
So,
if it was, and I'm not saying it's not some dark agenda, I'm on the fence. But if there was something like that, this is a really weird way to go about it, and we'll just see what happens, I suppose. But everything that I pick up on psychically is that we're coming to the end of a lot of these really, really dangerous and dodgy structures that have been keeping us in enslavement for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a bit of, like, there's a bit of dispute, like with people like Robert Kennedy coming in, people going, oh, he's attached to this and he's attached to, I'm like, at the end of the day, like, what have we been, especially in the medical arena, what have people been asking for and fighting for the last several years in particular, was all these things that he's speaking about implementing, and it looks like very much that's what they're going to do, and people aren't happy about that. And so I said that, like, that the reason that's occurred, that is everyone's win. That's everyone that's been vocal. That's everyone that's put time into research and like caring about their own health, and that's like putting their money where their mouth is, has caused that revolution. They haven't just put him in there. They've matched the energy that's going on globally, and they've matched that with a person for the new time that's coming in. So forget about the individual who's heading it up. It's like we've created that. So I don't know why people are pissed off about that. Do you know what I mean? Like he's talking about getting fluoride out of the water. People have been 50 years have been fucking demanding fluoride out of the water. They said they're going to do it. Like, is that not a win? Like, yes, it's good.
Yeah, their poor old anti-fluoride people have been hammered for decades, just absolutely hammered, treated so appallingly. Some of them have
Oh
lost
yeah.
children because they dared to say that fluoride was bad. That's how bad it gets. A lot of government dissidents do have their children taken away because they speak up about things that they really are incredibly important, and other people are too scared to do so. One thing I think is really interesting about RFK Jr. is his voice. You can't get someone to play someone who has such a unique voice pattern. You can't replicate that.
That's
So
a good point.
you're not going to be able to see someone. I think it would be very, very difficult. You're not going to be able to see a puppet on stage wearing a mask with that one.
That's a good point. Yeah, I never thought about that because
Really
because it's
unique sound.
yeah. Well, I mean, and the interesting thing with RFK, if people have followed him over the years, is the number one thing he goes after is the military-industrial complex, and also he speaks a lot about the militarization of pharmaceuticals, and the CDC was set up, basically set up by the Rockefellers in the military, and they have military rank within the CDC, and that's where these bioweapons and stuff, that's where they're coming from, their military operations. And he knows this. And like his family's been after the CIA for 60, 70 years. He spoke openly about he knows the man who killed his father. That he spoke to that man. The man died in the Philippines about 2 years ago. And he was the security guy in Los Angeles when he got shot. And and people are like, oh, like, why is this relevant to now? Well, the JFK assassination completely ties into SV40, which is the same stuff they put in the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
It all ties back to the JFK assassination. So you can see the bending of all these things historically. And I'm seeing how like the story's playing. Same with Fauci. It's going to show what happened with AIDS, the whole AIDS bullshit. So it's almost like the picture's been created for us in successive order. And that's how like the universe works too. It's like sometimes like you don't understand the full story, and like when your life's occurring, why did this happen? And then in hindsight, you can see that everything's been put in order for you to understand it in a certain way. And it feels like that with disclosure. Okay, well, COVID happened because, okay, that's going to tie back to the 60s and it's going to tie back to the AIDS, and everything's going to piece together, I think, at one point.
People don't realize how many decades, or if not hundreds of years, this has been in the making. They've been planning this for a very long time. Rockefeller started taking over the health industry a very long time ago, and we're going to go back to that homeopathic, the tinctures, the herbs, the real medicine. That is definitely coming back, 100%. I can't wait for that as well. I'm so excited about it.
Didn't I tell you that about Melissa, homeopath, and she sent the study that the other guy, Isaac Golden, who teaches in our course, who was my homeopath as a child, and he went over to Cuba.
Right. That's uncanny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I had like vaccine injury as a kid, and Mum took me to Isaac Golden, and he's world renowned now with some of homeoprophylaxis. So he got hired by the Cuban government to go over to Cuba and do homeoprophylaxis on the people. And they've got all the studies and the data and stuff that was used. So anyway, she's sent the studies and the data that Isaac had done to RFK. So
brilliant.
And he has mentioned homeopathy before. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening that is showing signs of, and it all goes back to this Earth awakening and the human being too. So like I think truth is going to like be an explosion in the years to come.
Yeah. Yeah, but by November, apparently, we're going to be sick of the truth. That's a download I got some time ago.
Sick of the truth.
Sick of the truth. Yeah, there's going to be so much truth. So I'm looking forward to getting sick of the truth. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I've got to remain humble, and I've told myself not to do the I told you so's.
Oh, we can do a little.
I don't know about my mum, on the other hand.
Oh, good on her. I'd love to be at like a back row seat and watch her.
She's been doing the I told you so's for 3 years now.
Well, I guess are we getting to time, Billie? Did you want to wrap it up pretty soon?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
finish
I
that
reckon.
please shutting too.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, was there anything else on your heart or anything that we haven't talked about that you want to mention? People that just learn about lays, or if they're just learning about all these things now, what you could give some advice or
Well, I mean, in specifics to Lays, I just say do Rachel's course, but I'm sure most of you have. But I think like again, what I was talking about before, looking for like if the truth is somewhere, it's going to exist everywhere. So you're going to find the same patterns in reality all over the place. So it doesn't matter what like field of interest or whatever you're getting into. If you're going into something with like curiosity and your own authenticity, like you're going to come to the truth no matter what it is. But in relation to the lays, yeah, I just think the simplest thing, like not even having to think about a protocol is just getting out there and just interacting. Um, yeah, because yeah, I think what's happening is it's a rebirthing of the planet, rebirthing of humanity. So yeah, I'll probably leave it at that.
yeah, great answer. Great answer. I love it. I can relate to that for sure.
Thanks for having me on. It's been
And
good
is there
fun.
anything else, Rachel, you wanted to share?
Well, I just wanted to ask Dale if there's anything you want to, obviously you've got you walk around Bendigo. I thoroughly recommend people go and have a listen to you and Georgina, go and have a yarn with Dale. You'll have a friggin' fun time. And, then you're going to go for a walk and check out all these freaky places like the post office tunnel and all the other places and Bendigo's just so Masonic. I mean, there's dragons, there's all sorts of interesting stuff there. There's a big eye. Yeah, freaky stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
I
thanks,
want to
Rach.
get over there and do that.
Yeah, yeah. So we do it March 15, 16. So it's for the whole weekend. So we're having like a whole day thing on the Saturday at the Bendigo Club, and then like if people buy tickets, it shows on the ticket thing like if you want to stay for dinner. So a heap of people have already said they're staying for dinner that night, and then we're doing like a walk and tour the next day. Yeah, basically all the different buildings and stuff that I kind of know about in the main central business district and the art gallery, which you may have done
Yeah,
videos on.
wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so it's like a cool closing for a chapter for me, and I'm excited because I used to take my ex-girlfriend on that walk, and she was not interested in what I was trying to point out. So now I've got a heap of people that for my own self. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun weekend. I think we've sold like 70 tickets at the moment, so we've got quite a few. So yeah, if you want to come, yeah, just go on my Telegram. I got links on there, and yeah, if you want to come, March 15, 16.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys still there? Feel like I've cut out.
Oh no, we're still here, Dylan. Oh, maybe I better end it.
Have I got a heap of background noise here? Like, is this annoying you?
No, I
Oh,
haven't said
cool. Yeah.
anything.
Everyone's just frozen. That's all.
Not sure.
No, all good. All
We can
good.
hear you, but you're frozen now.
Oh, have I? Do I look good
No,
on the
no, you're
freeze? Or,
fine. No, Billie
oh,
froze for a minute. Billie's at a festival. Sounds like she's having a brilliant time. Too cool.
right.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Dale and Rachel, for everything that you do and all that you've shared today, or tonight for me, and everyone that come on and had a listen, and all the great comments and questions. It was really great. Like I was trying to read and read through all the comments and the questions, so it was really good. People are getting involved. There's a couple of people wanted to ask questions, and I think it was Sonia wanted to ask about a Q&A, so it might be on the cards down the track.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just looking at it. Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, go and ask Dale and Bendigo.
So yeah. Anything else?
No, 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 I'm good. I think
Thank
I've
you,
said
Billie.
enough.
Great job.
Yeah.
Billie Ben. I'm just like calling you Billie Ben from now.
No worries. And yeah, so thank you everyone for coming on, and yeah, hopefully we're looking forward to the next one. And if you're interested in coming along to our group meditations, they're every 2 weeks. So they're really good. We've been, yeah, privileged to have Sarah, and Sarah run those ones. So jump on those and get involved with our weekly 12-12 weekly focus as well, because that's just going to be so much more powerful to do anytime, anywhere for yourself. So
Beautiful.
Thanks, Billie. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks,
you're
everyone.
welcome. Yeah, nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, thank you. And I've just seen all the names I recognise in here. So yeah, you know.
It's a pretty good crew. We've done well tonight. All right, guys, I am going to sign off and see you next time.
See you later. Bye.